Hey there, welcome to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit Jaws 2 from 1978. So grab a rubber raft and say a prayer. The episode is about to begin.
Welcome, everyone, to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
And as Brian mentioned, we are revisiting Jaws 2. And it is perfect timing. It is 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July to you. And everyone's going to be out at the beach,
Listening
swimming,
to Old Roommates.
And perhaps thinking twice before diving into that ocean.
Christina, don't.
Hey, truth is truth, man. I mean, these things are practically documentaries. So, Brian, we begin this episode as we always do. What is your history with Jaws 2?
So, I just want to quickly say this came out June 16th, 1978. So this is 45 years, the 45th anniversary for this movie. And I'm telling you, I remember, which makes sense, I think. I remember this movie even better than the original Jaws. Mm-hmm. It was horrifying as a kid, because I watched this movie multiple times when I was a kid. And I don't really know why I did, but I did. And probably because it's PG. Mm-hmm. So it's totally fine for kids to watch.
Once again, these movies are PG.
PG. And so...
the original Jaws was PG as well.
But I'm telling you the truth. The scene, and I know we'll get to it when we talk about now, but like the scene with Eddie being smashed into the boat by Jaws, to the girl screaming, shark, shark, and then that entire sequence where they're pulling the rafts together and the woman gets eaten in one bite. I remember those moments vividly. To the point when I watched the Jaws 1, which, do you remember what episode that was on?
Episode number 101.
101. So to the point where I was watching Jaws 1 expecting those scenes. Some of those scenes are much more in my memory than Jaws 1.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I really did... I mean, I can't say I enjoyed it, but I can say that it was genuinely scary to me as a kid. And I don't know if you've ever... I had a very active imagination because I was, at this point, 6 years old.
Sure.
And I remember my grandmother's pool, and I think I talked about this in our Jaws episode as well, where it's like, oh my gosh, very active imagination. What if I jump off this diving board and I'm in like some like time travel situation, and I I land in the ocean and a shark eats me, like, because of Jaws.
Wow.
Like, I was almost a little afraid of the pool, and I loved swimming. So Jaws 2 has some, at least for me back then as a kid, really terrifying scenes.
Yes, and I will say, just to jump on that, I was also afraid, because I was a lot... Did you watch it when you were 6?
I absolutely know that my parents brought me to the movies a lot, particularly the drive-in.
Okay.
And it was PG.
PG was not the better.
And at that, and at that point,
as long as a parent was with you.
I feel like parents in the 70s were a little more relaxed about things like that.
Say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, as witnessed in this movie also, but we'll get to that later. When I saw it, I remember thinking it wasn't even necessarily being afraid of a shark. That was there as well, but drowning. Because there's a lot of vivid scenes where they're being pulled under.
Yes.
And so I remember even just like reenacting it in a pool. The girl from Jaws 1.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden she's like...
Yeah.
And then gets back up. Like, I remember reenacting that with, like, my sisters and stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just being afraid of the water in general. Imagine, like, drowning. It's like, ugh, terrible. I feel like I interrupted you. Are you done with your then?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, because I think, like, most of that, that final part with all the rafts and the shark and all that, like, that is, that's what's so weird to say, is, like, it was genuinely scary for me back then. Yeah. And I liked it because I thought it was effective. That I don't know. Is that weird to say? I mean, I liked it even though it scared the living shit out of me over and over again. Yeah,
I also liked it when I was a child. I don't remember when I saw it, like how old I was. I know I was a child. Mm-hmm. It's funny. I kind of feel like maybe it was a drive-in.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think it would have been a video. I was too young for like a video.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it might have been like a drive-in, which to me wasn't quite as scary because you're in a car, you're a little distracted with your surroundings and things like that. So I remember liking it.
Yeah.
And I remembered a lot about this. I hadn't seen it since.
Oh, I have not seen this movie.
Right.
Yeah, in 30-something years.
It's funny. It's not something you'd be like, hey, let's watch Jaws 2.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So a lot of it I did forget, but I remembered specific scenes, the scenes that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
The water skiing, I remembered.
Oh my God.
I didn't remember a lot of the underwater scenes, believe it or not. The diving.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I didn't remember, for some reason, maybe it was too dark to see or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something on that idea. But I do remember a lot of that other stuff, of the teenager kind of stuff. So let's pop back into now.
Yeah.
When did you rewatch this, Brian?
Yesterday.
Ah, me too.
Yeah, I watched it. I watched it probably around like 2:00 in the afternoon.
Good.
And I was weary because everyone knows Jaws is a masterpiece, and then there's this one. But I think out of the sequels, this is probably the best one. I think most people would say Jaws 3D is a disaster, and Jaws 4 is pretty laughable. But like this, so I was like, but you know what? I feel like I'm afraid I'm just gonna hate it, and it's gonna be 2 hours a waste of my time. And that first scene set me to be like, oh my God, this is going to be a waste of my time. The first killing is so lame to me.
The
underwater. So
yes.
they're exploring the orca, the sunken boat from the first one.
Yes.
The music is like, actually made it like dorky in a way. I can't quite explain it, but it felt like a really low budget horror movie. It felt like they weren't even in, like they were like fish swimming by, but at the same time, like it felt very cheap. It didn't feel like very deep in the water.
Yeah, like this is clearly an aquarium.
Yeah, and then like there's one point where like the shark attacks. You don't see the shark, which I think is kind of dumb. We already know what Jaws looks like, even though he blew up. But like this other shark now, and at one point there's like a bloody hand like reaching up to the waves, and it's like, oh God, this is going to be bad. Maybe it's not as scary as I thought it was. And that was where I started, and I was like, I don't have good high hopes for this. Do you want to keep going or no? How did you feel?
Well, I felt very similar to that scene. And what was funny about that scene was the music. And I remember talking about the music in Jaws.
Yeah.
And thinking, oh my God, it feels like I'm in this Disney movie with this this happy, happy, happy music. This was something I was remembering throughout Jaws 2 as I was watching it. I remember the diving music was inappropriate for the scene that it was. We all know what's going to happen. We all know that there's a shark. We all know that this is not going to end well. But we don't need this happy, joyful music. It just seemed weird. So I agreed. I was worried about watching this movie. I had very low expectations of this movie. Really low. Because it was a sequel. Yeah. Because it's one of those things. Nobody talks about Jaws 2. Nobody talks about Jaws 2.
Right.
So I'm like, this is going to be a real... Yeah. And then I looked at the running time. I'm like, this is 2 hours?
I know. It did,
like, crap. Yeah. I was really worried about it.
Yeah.
And yes, that first scene was just like, what? And no blood.
Yes.
No.
Isn't that so
blood
weird?
You couldn't have squirted a little bit of fake blood in there? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
And I guess looking back, I don't know. Maybe they were thinking no blood because they didn't want people to think that it was an attack or something. Like, in the movie's point of view, I'm like, why did they not show any blood? It was weird that they didn't show any blood. Yeah. So anyway, but moving forward.
Yeah. Then the next scene it cuts to, and I have to say, we talked about this a lot in the first one. I love that couple so much.
I do too.
I love them all over again.
Yes.
Brody and Ellen. What's his first name?
Oh, you know what? I only wrote Brody.
Yeah, everyone calls him Brody. But Roy Scheider and Lorraine Gary, they just have great chemistry.
They are such
chemistry.
a great couple. They're one of my favorite couples in a movie.
I think so too. They feel so real, and maybe it's through my middle-aged lens. Yeah. That I'm like, that's a married couple.
It is a believable married couple.
Love each other. They do respect each other.
But they're
they
not
can
like
annoy
hugging
each other.
and
They're
kissing.
not huggy,
They're not like
kissy.
holding hands.
They're
like
really a team.
Yes.
You feel it. And
equals.
so damn funny when he, and by the way, really quick, I want to say I do know the history of this movie. It was plagued with problems. Everything from Lorraine, Gary's boyfriend, being, or maybe even husband, being a producer, wanting her to have more screen time.
Oh, interesting.
To Steven Spielberg having to write a quick script. And but they didn't even end up using it. And then they were going to be 2 directors, but one director wasn't part of the Directors Guild. It was one mess after another. It went $10 million over budget.
Wow.
It was bad. And so I do want to say, like, I know the making of this movie was very plagued by problems. Apparently, the shark, they have a couple different sharks. The shark broke after the end of every scene.
Oh my god!
And so it was really problematic. One of the producers had his girlfriend in a small role. I guess she was an awful actress. They fired her. Then the director got canned. So it's like the original director. So it was a lot of problems. Now I will say, Roy Scheider was contractually obligated to be in this movie. He didn't want to do it, which is really interesting because I actually think he's great in this.
I think he's great in it too. I love him in this.
More power to him for pulling that through. But it's so funny. So he's late, and he shows up, and she's a little annoyed, and she's like, "Listen, just pretend like you've been here the whole time."
Yeah,
They're at this musical performance by the high school band, and he's like, "How do I do that?" And she says, "Look bored."
Yeah. It's so beautiful. It's so accurate. I love that.
Oh, sorry. And we're also introduced to Len.
Yes.
Stefano DiMera.
Oh
played
my gosh.
by Joseph Mascolo. Stefano DiMera from Days of Our Lives.
I am a huge Days of Our Lives fan.
Yep.
I still watch it. I've watched it for 50 years. I think they just celebrated 50. Started watching it when I was a child with my mother, and I've watched it ever since. I've missed a few years here and there, but I am a big fan. And Stefano DiMera is probably my favorite character in anything. He was so good. So I was so excited to see his name, Joseph Moscato.
Joseph
Moscato,
Moscato,
sorry.
yeah.
Big fan. But I was disappointed.
Because?
No accent.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have his
Stefano
Italian
DiMera
accent. But it was still great to see him in something. I had never seen him in anything other than Days of Our Lives. Have you?
No.
I
I
never
don't think
have.
so either, yeah.
So it was really funny to see him. And he was good.
Yep. She's got tits like a sparrow. Did you want to just punch every teenager in this movie? I was like, when does the shark show up?
Right? Come on, seriously. Jaws, come on. Yeah, that was something. But I loved, his friend was like, do you have to talk like that?
Oh, I know.
Which you never see.
No, you never hear,
So I was like, oh, that's cool. I kind of love that. That was really, really funny.
Oh my God.
The teenager was like, they were all obnoxious. Although I will say, I liked Tina. Was that her name?
Yes! Christina,
really
good actress.
Tina, good actress in a good role.
Yep.
Like, I think in another movie, they would have just been making out all the time, and he would have been pressuring her to have sex, and they would have had a sex scene and all that kind of stuff. But she actually had a personality.
Yep.
She stood up for herself.
Yeah.
She was a good character and a good actress. And even when, like you said, that scene,
oh my God,
she was so good in that. She reacted 1,000% how I would have reacted. Just completely shocked, didn't know what to do. Unbelievable, like thinking, what is happening?
We talk about this when we talk about scary movies or horror movies, where the person, like, it's like, why aren't they screaming? And she is, don't get me wrong. I mean, like, I think some of the other actresses do, but the screaming is almost more annoying. It's coming from a place of terror, and it's not annoying. And she's screaming like, Eddie, swim faster. Eddie, and she's like trying to look at the shark, and she's scared.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. It's so effective. It is so effective. She makes the shark seem more real than it looks.
Yes.
Which is a note I have later on. But
And even after the fact, when they come to the boat
God.
and you think that she's gone, and she's just curled up in like this
white as a ghost,
shaking, fetal
shaking,
position underneath. Like that is exactly where I would be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be. I'll tell you one thing. I would not be doing. I would not be standing up in a boat after the boat was attacked by a shark, which is what 90% of the other teenagers were doing. They were literally just attacked. People were eaten. People were killed. It was terrifying. And what am I going to do? I'm going to stand up on this little raft.
Oh, but first, the kid, we're jumping.
We're jumping.
Jumping to the end. The little kid is probably the safest one because he's on a stable floating boat.
Yes.
No, let's bring the little kid on our sinking raft.
God.
Whose idea was that?
Let's add one more person.
It's like, why don't you flip the boat over? At least that boat is afloat.
Yeah.
All of their rafts have holes in them.
Yes.
We have a lot to discuss.
We do have a lot to discuss.
So I wrote, so at one point they're throwing water balloons at each other in the water. And it's like, well, all that plastic, I'd be pissed too.
Yeah.
And I was like rooting for the shark when I saw that.
Yeah.
God bless the water skiing scene and then the boat scene. I screamed. I forgot about that.
This was quite a scene.
My God.
This is like a whole movie wrapped up in a 5 minute.
Oh.
So I just wrote water skier. Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
You know it's going to happen. But then you really could never be prepared for what happens after that.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. So there's a water skier. Jaws is following her, or Jaws 2 is following her. And
nobody knows, just Jack.
The mom, it's her mom, gotta be her mom. I think that is driving the boat.
Yeah.
And so she's driving the boat, and she's really going fast, considering her daughter is on the end, and she's whipping her all around, and then she's going on for a while after her daughter has been attacked by the shark and is missing.
Yeah, she's
like, is her name Judy? What does she say? She's like,
something like that.
Judy?
I mean, all right. As good as Tina is, this woman is just
terrible.
The worst. She's the worst. I'm like, there's no panic. It's
also,
like, we're in the middle of the fucking ocean.
Also,
like, where do you think she is?
The water is also pretty still, by the way. Like,
yes.
Either your daughter is floating on the water or she's under the water. And if she's under the water, she's not going to probably be able to hear you. Judy?
Especially if you're just going like,
Judy?
Yeah, Judy.
And then
no panic.
And then apparently, because Jaws 2 was not satisfied with killing her daughter, he's like, I'm going to piss her off too. The shark crashes into her boat, and this is something that is like, holy shit. At the same time, like, that'd probably happen to me. The woman has a foolproof plan to save herself.
Okay, go ahead.
She grabs a bucket of gasoline, throws it on the shark, because the shark's sort of just like biting her boat. How this is a good idea? Not 1 second of this is a good idea. Not even good. She could have just started running the boat again and riding away, but no. But she grabs a tank of gasoline, throws it on the shark.
But as she
lifts it up, it pours on her.
All over herself. I'm like, this is not going to be good. Then she throws it at the shark, and then
she shoots a flare gun.
Which is, of course, what you want to do
when you're
covered, doused in gasoline.
She is covered from gasoline from head to toe. And she shoots the flare gun, and the boat, and the shark basically blow up.
Well, yes. So they light on fire first.
Yes. And the shark
because that's
away.
Not enough.
Yeah.
The whole entire boat explodes.
Blows.
So this was really something. Oh my God.
That explosion.
It was like one thing after another.
That explosion was really impressive, though.
It was very impressive.
But here's the thing. I gasped and then I busted out laughing.
Oh my God, me too. I was like, holy shit. Like, what did I just witness? Like, it was so damn funny.
And Jaws, so it's interesting too because Jaws, and I actually Googled this because I was like, there has to be a reason they did that. I mean, because he starts off like because he's now burned, you're thinking, well, he's not going to be as strong as he used to be. And really, his whole face was engulfed in flames.
Yes.
And scratched up. And I looked into this. I was like, then clearly he's a weaker shark already. Like, he's going to be weaker throughout the movie. And what they wanted to do was make him look more menacing.
Yeah.
Because they're like, Jaws, the original, was already so scary. They had to make him look a little different. A little more
bigger,
menacing. And I think it was a little bit effective. I mean, he's like burned and scarred, and he has these bloody scars on his face. And yeah, I mean, it was a little more...
It was like the Freddy Krueger effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, I think the whole idea of the exploding was it still doesn't point to a shark attack.
Oh, Christina, you're so wise.
Yeah.
You are so wise.
It just prolongs there's no shark
There's no shark there. Which is so funny because this is another critique I have of the movie where it's never really explained why they just fucking refuse to believe him all over again.
Yeah.
It's like, did you not see Jaws?
Right, seriously.
Did you not see part one?
Yeah. Jaws. And it's the same goddamn place. It's the same island.
It's the same fucking people.
It's
the same people. Like, you're not going to... You don't believe him?
Are you saying there was one shark in the ocean? Is that what we're talking about? It was just the one. It was just the one. It was just the one.
What is so hard to believe about this? Did you miss what happened 3 years ago? He's saying it's the same thing. It's the same suspicion. Yeah. It's happening again. Is it that far-fetched? But the thing that's so crazy, they don't say why.
Right.
They don't even say that. It's like, it's almost like, oh, not this again. It's like, he was right last time. Did you forget that part? They don't believe him.
It was a body count, people.
Yeah, it's like, did you forget the chunks of shark you were fishing? Like, oh my God. But what's so crazy is this could have been so much better, this storyline. They could have said, because remember in the beginning, there's a new hotel.
Yes.
They could have said, listen, we just are getting our revenue back. We're just getting people to come back to the beach. Please don't do this. Let's keep it quiet.
Right. Let's not remind
They don't
people.
even say that. They just flat out ignore him.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, that's wild to me. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all. Maybe there was a deleted scene or something where they had that conversation.
So, I don't even know if I mentioned that. I had to watch this on iTunes or whatever, Apple.
No.
Because it didn't show up at the library in time.
Oh.
But I will say, I mean, a crystal clear picture. This movie looked beautiful. I will say, it was filmed in Martha's Vineyard.
Yes.
Gorgeous town scenes. Yeah. I thought it was cast very well with extras and like smaller roles of like the townsfolk. Mm-hmm. I thought it looked really, really cool. Yeah.
Another great Brody and Ellen scene was when they're on the beach and he's up. So now he's suspecting. Oh, they find the whale. They find the whale that had been attacked, and he thinks it was a shark attack. Mm-hmm. I really liked that scene. It felt very believable. Where this woman is like, well, yeah, it could have been. However,
sharks don't take things personally.
But I love.
I love that.
That was great. I noticed that too.
Yeah.
But she was actually answering him in a scientific way. Like she's not saying
super logical.
Yeah, she's not saying yes, it was definitely a shark. She's like, it could be. She was not saying no, it wasn't either. But she's like, it could have been. But also, it's hard to tell because based on the findings, he's been floating around for a while. So he could have been
all
coming
these
in
other fish
from a long time.
Yeah, picking
things
away
have been
at him.
Eating it.
Yeah.
It's been sitting on the beach. All these different things, all these different factors. But she's also not saying no, it's not.
That's right.
Which I really, really liked.
I like when that happens in movies where like they bring in like the expert and you get the sense this person does this every fucking day of their lives and they're totally burnt out. Not that they don't care, but they've seen it all before.
Right, and she's talked to a million people like this.
That's a good performance.
Yeah,
she seems totally real.
Great
completely believable.
I love that too. But then I liked his. So what I liked also, like, and again, I agree.
Sorry, I cut you off. You were going to talk about another nice Ellen and Brody.
Oh my God, you're right.
Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh well, this kind of ties into it.
Okay, all right.
So he's at the tower, the Shark Watch Tower. Okay, this is basically what it is. And what was funny is like this woman comes up to Ellen and she's like, "Your husband's been here all morning. What's he been doing today? What's he doing today or something? What's he doing?" Yeah. And she goes, his job.
Love it.
That's
support.
That is support. That's one of the reasons why we love them
I
together.
love this couple so much. I love the performances. I love the characters.
Yes.
Great chemistry.
But I felt like his character was reasonably worried.
Completely.
He was, and I liked how he reacted up until
the shooting the gun.
That whole thing.
Yeah.
But I liked that he was basically, he was worried.
Yep.
He was not overreacting at this point in time. And he was taking care of his son. Like, he was worried enough to be like, hey, I don't want you saying, like, come on, go on in. This is something that's bothering me. But he's not, and he's keeping an eye out. He's reasonable until he goes up and he sees the school of fish.
Yes.
But my other question was, like, is he even qualified to be identifying a shark? Like, is there any kind of training involved to be up in that shark tower? Because it just felt like he sees a big shadow. Even I felt like it was too big to be a shark.
Yeah.
And I know he is kind of heightened a little bit.
Yeah.
But
He's been through a lot. Yeah.
He's a police officer. He should have been trained in a situation like this not to panic the people. Like, that is like a number one thing. You don't cause panic. That's going to cause all these other problems.
Yeah.
So what does he do? He goes,
screams.
Ah! Get out of the water! It's
guns,
a shark!
Guns
it's a
blazing!
Shark!
Guns blazing!
Flying down with a gun. Maniac person with a gun. Shooting the gun. Like, oh my God. Like, that
was
part
a lot.
seemed a bit much.
Yeah. Because people could have been trampled. People could have drowned. Panicking.
Yes, you don't cause
you don't
panic.
do that. But I think the whole thing was like, he's kind of having a psychotic break because he's so scared of this happening again. We get to know his son, Mike, who every line reading this actor said, I didn't look up his name. I feel like he was in a porno. Like, his line readings are so flat and odd. I'm like, does he think he's making a porno? It would be like the littlest things, like, I'm grounded. My dad won't let me take the boat out. Like, he's like, but it's weird. Like, I can't quite explain it. Like, he looks at everyone like in kind of a weird way. The acting was
that was an odd choice
odd
for
facial
him.
expressions, odd line readings. He was not good. And I'm going to jump to the end. So he hits his head. This is Mike Brody. He hits his head and he gets knocked unconscious. They're like, ooh, we need to pull the boat away and bring him to safety. Somewhere along the line, I got a little mixed up with what happened with that. So they bring him. How convenient that when all they do is they get to a safer spot of the ocean and he's totally fine. Oh, hey, Dad.
Yeah,
I'm like,
weird.
Oh my God! Are you
He
kidding me?
He didn't know, and that was a weird.
So odd. I don't know why they even did it. It wasn't necessary to even do that.
That was weird. Him being passed out in the ocean was probably his best acting.
I remember the scene with the dead body when Brody's in the water.
I forgot about that.
Oh no, that scene is so vivid in my mind. I thought it was a little more skeletal, but it's just more burned.
Yeah.
But that scared when I was a kid. I used to like. Did you ever do that when you were a kid? Like you'd look at the bottom of the screen so you don't look like a wimp.
Yep.
That was when I look at the. I'm like, I know what's happening. I know what's happening.
It's similar to like the whole like. Yeah. Putting your hands in front of your eyes, but looking through your fingers. Like, what's that doing?
Right.
You're still seeing it.
But
I forgot about that. I don't know how I forgot about that, but I forgot about that.
So was that before or after the Shark Tower? It was before.
I think it was.
It was before because here's why.
It was before.
So this made me laugh out loud. Though there's a mother and a daughter, and they say, someone asked, I think it's Stefano, I think it's Len.
Yeah.
They say, what is that? The mother says, what is it? And he's like, oh, it's an observation tower. And the little girl says, it's a shark tower. I saw one in Florida. He's watching for sharks. I'm like,
God, shut
this
the
the
hell up.
mother. I mean,
Go swimming.
It's like, why didn't the mother just ask her daughter? Why did the daughter withhold that information? Maybe the mother didn't believe her.
Strange.
It was very strange. The little girl was like freaking Small Wonder.
I think the mother probably didn't believe her. That's my guess.
It's like a shark tower.
She probably said it's a shark tower. He's like, well, I'll be the judge of that. Let's go ask.
Like Superman. It's like, I just saw a flying man. Stop lying.
Smash. I love these 70s movies.
Yeah, so then I wrote Brody running with a gun, screaming and shooting. So embarrassing.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. He should have got fired on the spot.
Another porn moment with Mike and the girl, the new girl.
Yeah.
With tits like a sparrow. Mike, I'd like to go to the lighthouse with you. Mike, again, I'm grounded. My dad won't let me take the boat out. Girl, do you always do what your parents tell you? It's like, this is PG, kids.
Yeah,
turn it down. Yeah, calm down. Keep your clothes on.
Yeah.
I guess the younger brother was prepared for a day on the boat.
Do you
He
love that?
opens the door with his life
With a life jacket
in his hand. That's weird.
Yeah, that was weird. I noticed that right away.
How did he know?
Yeah,
There's no way he could have known what was going on outside that door.
He didn't even know he was leaving. Like,
it was so strange.
It was like he was waiting for the door to open.
It's like action. I mean, they should have been like, cut. You're not supposed to have the jacket in your hand.
Well, I mean, honestly, I think all of his lines, every single one of his lines had to do with going out on the boat. Like,
that's true.
Can I go on the boat? Can I go on the boat? Can I go on the boat? Can I go? All right, enough. I thought the developing of the pictures, it was right before he got fired, because that's why he got fired.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty suspenseful.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Because you're not sure what the pictures, you know it's going to be something to do with the shark.
Yeah.
But you don't know what's coming. And did you notice there was no music?
Yep.
And I thought that was a good effect.
Yeah. And it's not, I mean, we know because we were there, but it's not clear. Like, it's like just enough where it's like, is it an eye?
Right.
Is it a window?
That's one of the,
is
you're
it a
like
button?
waiting for something to jump out. And it was so vague.
Vague.
Oh, this is pretty cool.
But again, my next question is, the council still doesn't believe him?
Yeah, everybody, no one sees the
not
eye.
one person is like, So apparently there's a deleted scene.
Okay.
And that guy, the main guy, that mayor, is he a mayor?
I think it's mayor.
He's the only one that votes to keep him as the chief of police.
Oh, interesting.
All the four others all vote to get him to remove him as chief of police.
Interesting.
Okay.
I have another note about the music. You know, everyone is out. They're gonna all go sailing. There's 100 teenagers all on like these little blow up boats, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the music sounds like Little House on the Prairie.
Yes.
That's exactly what
again,
it
and by the way,
like
it is John Williams again for this. He did this movie too.
The music choices are really odd.
So I had read that like they really wanted a PG rating, and they're like, we need to make it a little sunnier and a little more adventure feeling. And it reminds me of that same scene in Jaws 1 where they see the shark and they keep attaching barrels to the shark. Yeah. When it's like, no, that shark could eat you in one gulp. Okay.
Right, which clearly it did. Well,
yeah, but I do have just a general note that the shark this time around, and can I spoil this right now? I actually like this more this time around than even before. It is entertaining.
This is a very entertaining
Is it a great movie? I don't know. Is it entertaining? Yes. I think for what it has to do, it really does.
Yep.
And but the shark in this movie is kind of more of a dick. He's just fucking shit up. Like he's like banging boats into each other. He's pulling the helicopter into the water. He's just kind of like fucking things up for people.
He's just
like,
doing it to be an asshole. He can't still be hungry. He had like 1 million people.
The movie starts out. He ate 2 scuba divers.
Yeah. I can't think that he's still hungry. But yes, he's doing things just to be an asshole. He's
just
taking
scaring
bites
people.
out of boats.
I said to Carl didn't watch it with me, but we talked today, and I was like, he's like Jaws 2, and I was like, there were scenes where the shark his head just pops up out of nowhere, and it's like, dink! And it's like, ah! Right, it's like, oh my god.
And
but he doesn't even do anything.
I thought that was kind of interesting, too, where they didn't always play the Jaws
music. No, they don't.
I liked.
Yeah.
Because it did affect,
It's scary. It's these jump scares.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was unlike the first movie.
And I will say, though, it's like around that same time, Ferris, my cat, like anytime I wear socks and I put him on the coffee table, he jumps up. And I'm like, oh my god, he's like kind of, like he's like just being like a dick. But that would suggest that this shark has a personality.
Right.
That he's like, oh, you kids are like just being noisy and you're annoying me. I'm going to crash your boats.
You rascally teenagers.
Yeah. I did love the scene with the helicopter because even though you know what's going to happen,
right?
I love the acting of how excited everyone is. It was almost like a Simpsons
Yes.
episode where
Yes.
it's like, yay! And then it's almost a comedy. Like it's
Oh my
it's
God.
like, yay, we're gonna be saved. Here's the rope. Oh, you're tying it to the thing.
But didn't
Yay!
it bother you a little bit that they're jumping up and down,
Like down
on
on
this
the boat?
Like, you guys,
Yeah.
every 5
That
seconds someone
boat-
is falling into the water and you
That
guys
boat-
are still standing up and jumping up and down.
The boat is in shambles. It is like 6 boats
Oh
tied
my
together.
God.
Only like 2 of the boats are even floating.
Yeah.
But what's so funny is, like, they're like, "Yay, we're saved!" Dun dun. And there's no, and you're right. There's no music. Josh just sort of like pops up and bites the helicopter and pulls
Yes.
it down, and as if that's not enough. And I love this detail.
Yeah.
The blades of the helicopter hit the ocean water,
Yep.
and they bust and break and slice the sails
Yes.
to shreds.
That was great.
I forgot about that. And I was
Yes.
like, I love that detail because they have that now. They're just floating adrift.
Now they have
They
nothing.
can't steer the sails. They are so screwed. They're more screwed now.
Yep.
And now the helicopter's tied to the rafts, and the helicopter is sinking.
Yeah.
So it's like it was a little Jurassic Parkish for me. I liked.
Yes.
I thought it was really unique. I
Yes.
like that they thought that scene through.
Yeah, they didn't just stop at one thing, just like the water skier one. It was
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
Boom, 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 boom. Now this is the same idea. Like,
That's
boom,
true.
boom, 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 boom. Not only is there a shark in the water,
Yeah.
one of the ones to eat you, but now you are screwed. You have a holy boat, no sail, and you have to drag a helicopter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that. Was great details. I
Mhm.
agree with that.
Yeah, and then, oh, okay. Sorry, I did jump. Something had happened, and I said I love Brody and Ellen together.
I know exactly what it was.
Okay.
They're in the house. He comes home drunk. Oh wait.
Oh yeah.
Was it the same scene? Anyway, he comes home drunk or whatever. It might have been the next morning when they were talking.
Yeah.
But he's like, "Oh, I guess I'm gonna go clean out my desk,
Yeah.
get shit faced, and then punch your boss in the mouth." And she goes, "Well, I guess I should give my notice." And he goes, "Hold on, we may need the second income."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That was a great exchange.
I love
so
that.
much thought into this character's relationship,
And I
like both of them.
yes, and then following that, not long after that, I love when they jump on the boat together.
Yes.
And I was like, that was a nice touch because it's her kids too. It's
Yes.
like that
Well,
feels real.
Correction.
Oh, uh-oh.
It's her kid. They have
No
no
clue
idea
what the other kid.
where the other kid is.
That's
and
true.
I love that. That's very 70s. That's what I
Yeah.
was referring to
Yeah.
earlier. They have absolutely, they're like, "Oh, I think he's out playing somewhere."
Yeah, that's right.
No idea that he's
Oh
on
my
the
god,
boat.
that was really. I don't even have that note. That's really funny.
Yeah.
When his replacement as chief of police, right? Oh my god, that was. I meant to write that. I didn't write it down. He's like, what kids? What kids? He's like, oh, it's Joni, Ralphie, Mark, Mike, and they're like, Mike. Do you think he should have led with that?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Like, Mike, I mean, he's rattling off, like, the 7 dwarfs, and it's like, wait, our child is on that
Yeah.
boat? Not child, but, the
Yeah,
older
yeah,
child. The older child's on the, like, he, like, gave Mike, like, 7th billing in that lineup.
Yes.
I thought that was a weird choice.
Well, I honestly didn't think it was that surprising because he was bumbling.
He was a little bumbling.
I wasn't crazy about that character.
Yeah.
Because he was so bumbling.
I thought he
And it
made
made
things
sense.
light. I think it was nice. He was lighter energy.
Yeah, I get why.
Yeah.
But he didn't seem very realistic to me.
Okay, let's see.
The
Jesus
couple,
Christ.
So yeah,
So Eddie and Tina.
Eddie and Tina. There were no life preservers on this boat.
Yeah.
At one point, I'm like, "Can you try to help him in the boat?" But that was after he got smashed into the boat, and he was like, "Okay, I guess
Yeah.
you can't really help him into the boat."
That
And then she's
scene.
like, "Make him go away. Make him go
I
away.
know.
Make him go away."
But she actually says, so I have my closed captions on, and she actually says, mom, or mom, she says something like, oh my god, my mom. Like she
Oh,
has this like, oh yeah.
wow. I
think,
didn't know that.
The,
I didn't have them
yeah,
on.
the closed, yeah, she says it under her breath, like, mom, like, yeah, she actually
Wow.
like calls for her mom. Like, it's very sad. That I thought that was so well acted, and
Oh my
so
God.
I'm getting chills right now. That seeing Eddie dragged like that, and then again, the shark
And then
is a
just
dick.
smash
Like he's
right
a
into-
dick.
yeah.
I mean, he's like he could have just eaten him, but no, he and you. I felt that when Eddie hits that boat.
Oh,
Oh my
God.
God, it's rough.
Yeah, that's really.
But I
really
thought
hard.
the acting of Eddie and Tina both fantastic,
Excellent.
really scary, very effective.
Yes, I agree. My next note is referring to the end.
Okay.
I just wrote, how many boats can be capsized, sunk, or otherwise just destroyed in 1 minute? Like, every single one of these boats were bitten. There's holes in them. They're sinking. They're turning upside down. And all of these children, I said, can everyone just please sit the fuck down? Because they just keep standing up and moving, and then it's not enough
Slipping
that one
and
person,
falling in the water.
not enough that one person slips and falls, either overboard or slides or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like this person just fell overboard, and now you're standing up.
They saw a woman get eaten in one gulp.
It's like sit
One
down.
gulp. They all saw it.
Sit down.
Yeah.
You're going to fall overboard if you do not sit down.
And that scene where they pull the little kid over, it's like,
God.
let him be. He's the only safe one.
Yeah,
His
yeah,
boat is
just leave
floating.
him-
Yours
let's leave
is
him
sinking.
alone.
Leave him alone.
Yeah, just leave him alone.
He's been thrown off. Yeah, throw me take the rope. It's like I just saw my babysitter get eaten by a shark. Can you maybe can we stop yelling at
Stop
me?
yelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this made me laugh out loud. Brody, Roy Scheider says, where are they? And his replacement guy says, oh, they're about 10 degrees off starboard bow. Take a heading leeward off of Sand Island. And Brody goes, don't give me that shit. Point! That's really funny.
Yeah, that was.
It's like, he was like, which direction? Not like 10 degrees starboard. Yeah, it's like so
It's like,
fucking
just
funny.
points.
Very funny.
That was very, very funny. I liked that a lot too.
The helicopter scene is my next. It's great scene. And then so when that woman gets eaten by Jaws in one gulp, why was he alone on the boat to begin with? The
two of them were
on a
one
boat. And why was she off the boat? What happened? Did she slip off the boat?
I think.
Did the boat tip over? The boat tipped over.
Did he fall in and she helped him in? That's what happened.
Oh my
He fell in
God.
and she
That's
jumped in
right.
to get him.
That's right.
And put him to safety, and then the shark ate her.
Oh my God, terrible.
Yeah. There was a scene, and I'm being nitpicky, but there was a scene where the shark did not have any burns on him. And
yes!
Did you notice that too? And I'm like,
yeah.
where are all the fucking burns?
Yeah.
And I had made a note earlier about, I liked that. I liked that he was burned. And he was a lot scarier. So that made sense that they did that. But yeah, all of a sudden I'm like, where'd they go? But they did come back. At the end, he was burnt again.
I have to say, this is maybe an obvious statement, but even though the shark is fake, it's still menacing.
Yes.
Like, it's still scary looking. And it looks like, even if it's just like a tin can, I mean, it's a big tin can.
Yes.
And you know it can just scoop people up and tear them apart. So, as much as fake as the shark looks half the time, and it does, I thought the actor's reaction to this fake-looking shark was very good.
Yes.
And it made it scarier,
Yes.
which was helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
I already said something about shark being a jerk, bumping boats, toying with their emotions. Mike recovered quickly. It's like funny. He's unconscious when everyone needed his help.
Well, we all know he's pretty lazy. He's 17 years old and doesn't even have a job.
He is so lazy. And then my last couple notes truly are like the electrocution of Jaws. It's a little kind of anticlimactic in a way.
Yeah.
It just isn't as very exciting as the first movie. But it's also unfortunate because it's very close up.
Yes.
And the shark looks incredibly like a hunk of tin. And there's smoke coming out of its eyes and edges, and it just doesn't look real.
It didn't.
Yeah.
And I felt like it went on way
Yes.
too long. Like they shouldn't have done it for as long as
They should have done what they did with the boat, right? Where it's far when the boat blew up, where it was far away. So that would have been probably better to just see this these big huge sparks and more reaction shots than the shark itself.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or even just more movement from the shark too. Good note.
Yeah, that's actually really true.
That's probably
it just
part
sort
of why
stuck
it looks, because
there.
it was just sitting there.
Yeah, that's a really
so
good note.
So if it at least flapped its tail around or
True.
something, it would have made it look like it at least
Christina,
was in pain.
an excellent
thank you.
Excellent note.
Thank you so much.
That would have helped a lot. And then it ends.
And that's it.
Like, it ends so fast.
Yeah.
It's like we fried the shark and people are smiling and then the credits are rolling while the movie's still going on.
Yes.
And I don't like that in movies. I don't like that.
You could have at least had a fish fry or something.
But it's like they're like still kind of getting on the boat and like Roy Scheider's helping the kid.
Happy. They're like, oh, great. Everyone is happy now.
Well, you know why? Because the music is do 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 do. Like it's so odd. It is odd.
Yeah.
But I have to be honest. I actually really enjoyed it.
I did too, Brian.
It's a movie. It's like a fun movie. It's weird.
You know me. I can be as critical as the next person. And I went in there with very low expectations, which might have been part of it.
Yeah.
But I totally enjoyed this movie. Every 2 hours of it. I never felt like it was too long.
Same.
I felt like it was a great mix of real and...
even some humor.
The humor, but it wasn't too forced.
No.
It was like a real conversational kind of humor.
The council people, for example, like they look like a friggin' town council. They're all old and like suspicious and miserable and over it. Yeah, none of it was overacted and done. I mean, I think in terms of the acting, the only person that really overdid it was that the new girl.
Yes.
You know, who the screaming was like, okay, please, that's a little too much screaming, please. Really quick, I do have a match game, but I also have some just a little bit of trivia.
Okay.
So budget was originally $20 million. It went up to $30 million with all the problems and the directing and the writers and all that. The box office was $208 million. So it made like basically essentially 10 times its budget, which is good.
Yeah.
However, when you consider part one, do you remember any of this? The original was made for $9 million and it made $477 million.
And it's probably still making money.
Oh yeah, but it's really true though. What you said in the beginning is totally true. No one talks about Jaws 2, but I will say, and you will say, it's really worth checking out.
It's definitely worth checking out. Yeah, I would definitely check this movie out. Especially if you're one of those people. I think people almost have a tradition of watching Jaws, right? Like on vacation or something, they might have a copy of it and just pop it in. It's just sort of like one of those cookout movies or something. But I don't think they do that with Jaws 2. So I think if you're one of those families who watch Jaws all the time, this movie would be a good part of that. Oh,
it's
tradition.
worth your time. I completely agree with that. If you watch Jaws a million times and you kind of like shrug your shoulders at Jaws 2, give it a revisit. It's really, it's better than you remember. It's better than you remember.
Yes, it sure is. And the acting is great too.
Yep.
All right, so yes, more for me, more for you.
Yeah. And I'm shocked to say it, but yeah. Match game. Do you want to go? Do you have a match game?
I do have a match game.
Do you want to go first or want me to go first?
I'll go first. Okay. All right, so Jaws has become quite fed up with eating teenagers.
Oh no.
So he's decided to move on. He was just getting very annoyed at picking all the blank out of his teeth.
Oh my god. Alright, so he's got tired of eating teenagers. He got tired of picking all the blank out of his teeth. That's really funny. Oh god. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. This is right. Ding!
All right, Jaws, he's decided to stop eating teenagers. He was getting very sick of picking all the...
pubes?
Ew!
Well, because, they're, hitting puberty and pubic hair.
Yep.
What did you have?
All right, it was not a match.
Oh.
And it's my favorite answer, but I think it really works. Can you guess?
Condoms?
Yeah, picking all the condoms out of his teeth.
Christina!
They're horny teenagers. They have sex on the beach and they're all over the place. I love my answer.
Maybe those weren't even water balloons that they were throwing. Maybe
Oh,
they were
they
condoms.
probably...
They probably were condoms.
Oh, my gosh.
It still doesn't make it right, though.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, plastic in the ocean. All right, here's mine.
Okay.
Turns out being attacked by Jaws is even worse than you've imagined. Because this is really funny. Not only does he have razor sharp teeth.
Yes.
He also has blank.
Let's see. All right. Say it again.
Turns out being attacked by Jaws is even worse than imagined. Besides having razor-sharp teeth, he also has blade. Ding!
He also has bad breath.
Bad breath! Yay!
Yay! So you know what's really funny about that? So I don't know the last time that you listened to our revisit of Jaws.
Uh-oh. Is it the same question?
No, it's no, I didn't want to repeat my question.
Okay.
So I listened to the last part of our episode just to make sure, because sometimes I have been accused of using similar questions. So I was listening to it, and your question for the Jaws episode had something I forget now what it was, but it had something. Oh, we're going to the dentist. He was going to the dentist, and he was mad because he had to get because of something.
Right.
And my answer was braces. He had to get braces. And yours was like a mint.
Oh no!
So
I'm obsessed with his breath.
You really are obsessed with his breath.
That's
But
so funny.
I think you're right in being concerned with that though, because he doesn't have a very good diet.
Not at all.
I mean, it's
and
all
ocean
just people,
water and
ocean,
fish and
fishy.
garbage and
So yeah, I mean,
corpses.
it makes sense. But
yeah.
I think that's really funny that you said.
And it's so funny that I'm obsessed with that part. That's really funny.
But it was
what was did you have a question or an FMK?
My question, I don't know, I forget now.
All right, but it's episode 101.
101, yes, 101.
You want to check
so
that
Jaws is 101, and then this one
is
obviously
Jaws 2.
Is Jaws 2?
Happy 4th of July!
Happy 4th of July.
And that's it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates.
Thank you for listening. Please remember to follow us on Instagram or YouTube, where we have our episodes as well as a little extra.
And if you have any questions about our show, any suggestions for movies we could revisit, reach out to us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com.
Thanks again for listening.
This is Brian.
And this is Christina. Until next time.